Hi and welcome to Draw Cartoons. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get right to the point today and tell you that in this video we're going to be learning how to draw this guy. Yep, Steven Universe. If you're as big on the show as I am, then I bet you can't wait to get started. Let's begin. Okay, so as usual, going to start with a head. And Steven's head shape is a little bit unusual. It's kind of round, but it has like a hump out here where the cheek is. So it's kind of like a sideways heart, really, to start with. I'm just going to draw where the middle is for myself, just like a line of symmetry that I usually do. Just going to draw the arm out here. Steven has really thick arms, or well, limbs really, so make sure that kind of comes across when you're drawing them. Just draw his torso in there, just two little curves. Try and get that spacing right there in another arm. Okay, time to. I'm just going to quickly kind of, as you may be able to see, I'm drawing out where all the little shapes are of his body first. I call it wireframing. Just draw his fly in there. Just don't. I'll forget if I don't draw that now. So just drawing his legs in. I'm doing his traditional stance that you may have seen a few times on adverts and such. He's usually doing this. I've drawn that leg a little too thin actually. There you go. Just bringing that out. Okay, his little star-shaped stance that he does. Just make sure you kind of just block those feet in there. Really simple shapes to begin with, like really basic shapes. You don't have to really refine anything just yet. Just make sure you get just little curves in. I'll get that star in again. If I don't draw the star in now, I know I'm going to forget later. Okay, and again, he has kind of weird hands. Like they're not really correct in a way. They're just really cartoony hands. So you're just drawing sausages in, which should be quite easy to do. Okay, so just kind of, I'm just drawing in his sleeves now, making sure his shoulder goes over the side of his face. Again, the fingers on the other hand, very chunky fingers, and make sure they're kind of pointing outwards. So he's doing that sort of yay expression, isn't he? He's kind of jumping in the air and pulling a face, or at least he's going to be pulling a face. He doesn't have a face at the moment. We will soon, but better draw his ear in there. Again, really basic shapes, just little C's and S shapes and stuff that you may be able to see that I'm doing. Just rub that out there, don't need that little bit anymore. Okay, now really gently again, you should be doing loads of really gentle strokes, just building up the shape. Okay, there's one eye. Just draw his other one in. The kind of like circles that have been stretched upwards, but you'll see that a lot with cartoons, where the eyes are just basically a circle that's stretched upwards. Now Steven has a really characteristic snub nose, so make sure you draw that like it's kind of pointing upwards, isn't it? Just get rid of those guidelines. I don't need those guidelines anymore. And just two lines for the nostrils, that's all he has. And you may be able to see his face kind of taking shape now. Now his smile, like a big, yeah, kind of mouth going on here. It's like, it looks like a giant jelly bean on his face. So again, try and make that look that way. He's got huge top teeth as well. I don't know if you're looking at the same picture I'm using for reference, but his teeth are very prominent, aren't they? Just get rid of a few guidelines again. It's just kind of good practice to get rid of guidelines you don't need anymore, because you may forget to rub them out later, so that's what I'm doing here as I go along. I better draw the rest of his hair in actually. He kind of looks like an old man right now. He's not got much going on at the top, so it's like a little brown cloud that sits on his head, so just try and draw. I just made a little mistake there, it wasn't really round enough. Just draw little C shapes that are pointing towards his head. It's kind of like a little kind of an afro shape, really. Okay, and just curve it in there. Okay. Better draw his eyebrows in, actually. Very thick eyebrows. Again, kind of like jelly beans, really, that are just kind of curving upwards. Okay, and hopefully now you're seeing the more guidelines to get rid of. Seeing the similarities here. He should be taking shape by now. I'm just going to block in the lines I really like. I don't have to do those again, so I'm just going to press a little bit harder over those. His other sleeve, just noticed I didn't draw his other sleeve there. Just draw that in really quick. Okay, so now we have Steven's kind of basic shape going on. I'm just going to make sure that star's in. Don't be afraid to rewind if you need to. I know I'm probably going rather fast, but it's just the way I draw. I just do draw quickly. But you can rewind as much as you like. All I'm doing now is I'm just basically tracing over the lines I've already drawn because I like the way they look. Because I was stroking very gently, I knew I could rub them out if I'd made errors. But now I quite like the way I drew them, so I'm not making many changes as I go along, just pressing a little bit harder. And now I'm just gonna, actually there's one, I need to get rid of that, that's not quite round enough for me. So just drawing the bottom of his sandals, and here his sandals are quite tricky, so just watch what I do. Just a curve for his foot shape, and then his strap kind of, it doesn't just go all the way across, it's almost like it bumps up there in his big toe. So make sure you draw that. I overlooked that the first time I drew him, and I was like, oh yeah, he has a big toe. So just draw in the rest of the toes there. Okay. That's the general shape we're going for. Don't worry if parts look messy for the time being, we can tidy it all up later. Just for now, we're interested in getting the all the shapes in. Okay. So again, this foot's far simpler because we can't see the rest of the toes behind his big toe. I've got some guidelines there, just get rid of those. Okay. Feel free to pause, rewind if anything's giving you trouble. And again, I'm just kind of blocking in those lines I really like. I decided that they looked decent enough first time for me to just kind of finalize them like that, so I'm just pressing a little bit harder with my pen now. Okay, so just sausage fingers, very, very thick arms. That little line of his palm there, don't forget that. I just noticed that lip's a bit wobbly there, I just tidy that up a little bit there and around his chin. Okay, so it's just good to go over your wireframe, quote unquote, and pick out the lines that you really like and press up just a little bit harder on them to make them look more final, and ones you don't like, you can just rub them out and redo them. But it's good to, just doing the fingers here, it's good to just wireframe really, really quickly at the start, get all the really basic shapes down, all those squares and all those circles, and then take a look, like stand back from your work and take a look at it. As I'm doing now, I just keep kind of looking closer and then going away from it and seeing what I like and what I don't like. I'm just tidying up really quickly now. There you go. And there you have it. Our drawing of Steven Universe is done. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you're happy with your drawing, great. But if not, as usual, don't worry about it. You can rewatch and retry the tutorial as much as you like until you really begin to get the hang of things. There's no rush when it comes to learning to draw, and nobody gets things like this right on their first try. I had to practice before I made this video too. Thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new tutorials. Bye for now.